We are committed to supporting Mali's democratic transition, President Tinubu tells Malian new envoy to Nigeria.
Encourage vigilante groups in Kogi State and the environ through adequate remunerations.
Presidential directive to establish forest guards receives accolade from Red Chamber.
Our administrative data system have operated in silos. It has been disjointed, inconsistent, and underutilized.
Statistician General of the Federation unveils digital tools for gathering and processing national statistics. Very good evening to you. Welcome to NTA Network News. I am Jumba Yusuf. Tonight I have with me Adiola Kami Akere from Lagos. Benny Adams is on business and Francisca Bele is our sports anchor. Do remember to follow these newscasts on all our social media handles displayed on the screen. And on our NTA survey tonight, we are beaming our light on the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. No doubt, the board has done marvelously well over the years, with some reforms and innovations to ensure quality, eliminate malpractices, and embrace information technology. Now, this has to some extent improved the integrity of UTME. Just yesterday, however, the board admitted and apologized for some technical challenges that hindered smooth conduct of the last examination in some parts of the country. So we sought to feel a pulse on what should JAMB do to eliminate technical hitches. Should it accredit only up-to-date centers, ban centers that fail to meet expectations, as well as conduct exams only in urban centers or reduce the number of centers and conduct exams in badges? Well, let's hear a voice as you vote in tonight's poll. Scan the QR code, make your pick, and stay tuned for the result of the survey at the end of tonight's bulletin. Let's get the news. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to supporting Mali's democratic transition and deepening economic ties between the two nations, declaring that West African countries are stronger when united. That is the message he sent to the Malian leader, General Assimi Goïta, when he received letter of credence from the new ambassador of the Republic of Mali, Sheikh Omar Galibali. President Tinubu believes both countries should strengthen bilateral relations, hoping that Mali will achieve its democratic goals, as he added that Nigeria is open to any support it can render in that regard. The ambassador of Mali thanked the president for consistently providing leadership for the subcontinent and for the sub-region and the continent. Welcoming the Tanzanian envoy, the president praised the country's leader, President Samia Suluhu Hassan, for her courageous leadership and impactful contributions to the African Union. The Tanzanian High Commissioner acknowledged the significant impact of investment Nigerian companies in Tanzania. In his meeting with the Russian ambassador, President Tinubu highlighted Nigeria's long-standing technical partnership with Russia and expressed a desire to expand cooperation in steel production, science, education, and nuclear energy to bolster electricity supply. Addressing the Swiss Ambassador Patrick Egloff, President Tinubu pledged to create a more investor-friendly environment through regulatory reforms, especially concerning potential litigation. Ambassador Egloff highlighted growing Swiss investments in Nigeria, noting expansions by companies such as Nestle and Lapage in Lagos, Kano, and Gombe states, and praised ongoing collaboration on security and intelligence. President Tinubu also received letters of credence from other envoys from the Kingdom of the Netherlands, as well as Bosnia-Herzegovina, urging closer cooperation to promote global peace, understanding, and prosperity. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will depart Abuja for Rome, the capital of Italy, on Saturday at the invitation of Pope Leo XIV, accompanied by top Catholic leaders. President Tinubu will attend a solemn mass marking the beginning of the pontificate of His Holiness Pope Leo XIV, the 267th Bishop of Rome and the new leader of the Roman Catholic Church. In the papal invitation sent by Cardinal Pietro Parrini, Pope Leo XIV underscores the need for President Tinubu's physical presence. Meanwhile, efforts from food processing companies and associations to sustain the downward trend in food prices and to ease the burden on Nigerians, the issue of food price topped the discussion as the president met with chairman of Boa Company, Alhaji Abdul Samad Rabiu, in the State House. State House correspondent Mubawud Wahab has more.
Chairman of Boa Companies responded to the call of the president. President Bola Tinubu is aware of a downward trend in the prices of food items, with particular emphasis on rice as a major staple food in the country. But then, the president would not settle for the current state. Even as he appreciates the improvements, President Bola Tinubu is asking for more from one of the major stakeholders in the sector to further crash the prices in the interest of Nigerians.
It is always a great honor, to have an audience with His Excellency, Mr. President. I explained to His Excellency that indeed, food prices are coming down in Nigeria, and that we are doing quite a lot, to support that effort.
In return, the chairman of Boa Companies commended the presidential initiatives, particularly the 6-month duty waiver on importation of some food commodities, which he says has contributed in checking the activities of hoarders and leading to the drastic reduction in the price of rice.
So what that intervention did at the time when we brought in was to, create an issue for those hoarders. Because the moment we imported, we were selling, and those hoarders had a lot of paddy, they could not sell. And the price now came down, and it is still down. I do appreciate that, yes, we need to protect our farmers, but at the same time, we also have 250 million Nigerians that are paying a lot more than what they should be paying because of what few companies or individuals are doing.
What specifically are you doing as the Rice Millers Association?
Yeah, what we are doing as Rice Millers is that we want to ensure that, rice millers are not buying and hoarding paddy. So I am hopeful that at the end of the day, the price of rice, going forward is not going to go any higher than what it is today.
Alhaji Samad, also a major player in the cement industry, revealed that Alhaji Aliko Dangote is also coordinating an initiative that will support the infrastructure renewal drive of the administration.
What it means is that any company or anybody that is involved or that is doing a project that is under the renewed hope, the price of cement will be frozen. There will be no increase for the foreseeable future. We are doing that to support Mr. President's renewed hope initiative.
He attributed the current prices of cement to the realities of foreign exchange. From the State House, Musbal and Wahab, NC News.
The commitment by Nigeria and other African countries to accelerate development needs the support and encouragement by the European Union. Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this during a meeting with a delegation from the European Union at the presidential villa. Abuja. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
European Union is one of Nigeria's dependable partners whose investments have been assisting greatly in realizing ongoing reforms by the Tinubu administration. This meeting is another commitment of Nigeria's readiness to continue to leverage Global Gateway, a strategic initiative of the EU to invest in smart, clean and secure infrastructure. Accelerating key projects like the high-speed rail links, improved ports and airports, renewable power plants and vocational training centers.
But President Tinubu took the bull by the horn. He tightened our monetary policy, spearheaded efforts to boost non-oil revenues, and most importantly, to revitalize and reposition our economy. Look at the tax reform. It was just passed by the National Assembly, which will boost our tax profile. We are literally on the same page with the EU on so many fronts, and we see no reason why we shouldn't reinforce those values and those commitments. As you have rightly said, EU has investments in Africa worth 309 billion euros.
On the efforts of the current leadership of the African Union Commission, Vice President Kashim Shettima said it has brought a renewed commitment and clarity to the vision of the AU. Leader of the delegation, who is also the EU ambassador to Nigeria and ECOWAS, emphasized the strength of the relationship between the two continents, which is celebrating 25 years as EU foreign direct investment in Africa reached 309 billion euro, significantly outpacing both United States and China.
The Vice President insisted very much on the reforms that His Excellency, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has implemented in the country, which have been very transformative. And I've been impressed by the vision of His Excellency, the Vice President himself, on all these issues, on the partnership with the European Union in particular, and the geopolitical vision he has developed to us.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima said Nigeria and the Republic of Zambia share a long-standing relationship, and the administration of President Tinubu is committed to sustaining it. The Vice President stated this when he received Zambian President Special Envoy Dr. Samuel Miambo, who was at the presidential villa to deliver the President's message to President Bola Tinubu. Vice President Shettima said Nigeria is proud of its shared heritage with Zambia, especially the country's contributions to civil liberties liberation during the apartheid era. He assured the envoy of Nigeria's continued support for the government and people of Zambia, particularly in the pursuit of programs and policies that target the improvement of lives and livelihoods of the people of both countries. Dr. Miambo, who conveyed the Zambian president's message, solicited Nigeria's support for his quest for the presidency of the African Development Bank. He said Nigeria's support will be crucial for the success of any presidency of the AFDB, and highlighted his vision for the development of the continent anchored on energy security, infrastructure, and the construction of an African Center of Excellence for Energy in Nigeria. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
Now let's bring you up to speed with other news. The Senate has commended the recent directive of President Bola Tinubu to the National Security Advisor to establish forest guards that will support efforts in curbing rising insecurity in the country. The Red Chamber also suggested that the Nigeria Forest Security Service Bill awaiting presidential assent could be amended to accommodate the proposed Forest Guards initiative. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports on these and other activities at Thursday's plenary.
The resolutions were adopted in response to a motion calling on authorities to secure the release of a traditional ruler, Obaluhu of Okoloke, James Okunyada, who was abducted early Thursday morning in Yakba West local government area of Kogi State.
Suspected kidnappers stormed the palace of the referred second-class chief around 12 a.m., shooting sporadically into the air before whisking the traditional ruler away to an unknown location.
It's very bad, and I'm sure the government is doing all its best to make sure that those who took this heinous crime will be apprehended.
Encourage vigilante groups in Kogi State and the environ through adequate remunerations.
Senate also urged the police to investigate the recent attacks in Benue South Senatorial District, during which 13 persons lost their lives.
Urge the federal government to mount comprehensive surveillance at the affected areas and other areas to proactively detect and deter such further attacks.
Senate has in the meantime set up a 20-man committee to organize a summit on national security, with Senate leader Okuyemi Bamidele as chairman. Senate has passed for second reading bill to establish National Agency for Malaria Eradication.
Malaria, despite centuries of devastation, continues to receive tepid responses and fragmented interventions.
The report of the World Health Organization 2024 put at 184,000 Nigerians have died from malaria complications.
Malaria eradication is something that I believe strongly will assist Nigeria. And it's a disease of the tropics, but at the same time, if we're able to curb it, it will help to reduce infant mortality.
Also passed at second reading is a bill that seeks to mandate ministries, departments and agencies of government to prioritize local automobile and indigenous companies in procurement process.
How do we stand the free fall of Naira if we cannot address our appetite for foreign goods?
The Federal Executive Council passed a resolution to the effect that Nigerians should patronize made in Nigerian goods.
The Senate Committee on Federal Character has commenced investigation to address alleged violation of the principle of federal character in recruitment and infrastructure allocation.
Governance must reflect the diversity of our federation to prevent domination by any one group or region.
Is to ensure fairness, equity in distribution of government positions and social amenities within the federated states.
We'll also look at the socio-economic infrastructural distribution in our country.
The committee is expected to engage heads of agencies within the 3 months of the investigation period. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is to investigate the widespread failure recorded in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports that the legislators are also advocating the establishment of computer-based test centers in every local government area to ensure equal access and reduce distance in future exams.
The votes and proceedings.
By 11 o'clock Thursday morning, members had reconvened for plenary. It was the last plenary of the week, one that surprisingly recorded better attendance than that of Wednesday. Tension stirred as Representative Adewale Adebayo raised a motion condemning what he described as a trauma faced by candidates in the 2025 Joint Admission and Matriculation Board examination. The motion sparked passionate debate and led to far-reaching resolutions.
Mandates the Committee on Appropriation to include the construction of computer-based test CBT center in all the 774 local governments across the country.
I amend that it should be installed in all our various secondary schools, where most of these students are being taught.
But I think this motion somehow should commend the registrar of JAMB. He came on national TV this month, was shedding tears for what happened, for the negligence.
We are all saying investigate and let the House know what has happened and who to blame for. So I think the motion is in order as well.
The Electoral Act 2022 came under fresh scrutiny as the bill for the amendment of the Act, sponsored by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas and Representative Daniel Asama, passed second reading. It seeks to make voting by all adults in Nigeria mandatory. The bill, sponsored by Representative Kafilat Obara from Lagos State for the establishment of a National Child Protection and Enforcement Agency, passed second reading.
Mandatory voting can significantly reduce the influence of vote buying as more citizens will be participating.
And to provide necessary protection and care for the Nigerian child.
The House passed 124.2 billion naira 2024 budget of the Nigeria Police Trust Fund. On the political front, the echo of defections continued. 3 members, Oluwaloke from Osun State, defected from PDP to APC. Kabir Al-Hassan and Abdullah Hissani, all from Kano State, switched allegiance to the ruling All Progressives Congress from their former party, the NNPP. Their defection was witnessed by APC National Chairman Abdullahi Umar Ganduje in company of party stalwarts. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Now, the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BORN, has acknowledged the open admission of human and technical errors by the Registrar of JAMB, Professor Isiaq Oloyede, for taking responsibility as demonstration of an exemplary courage that symbolizes accountability and integrity. Executive Secretary of the organization, Dr. Yemishi Bangwoche, in a statement, says Professor Oloyede deserves commendation for his act of transparency and fruitfulness. In the same vein, Lagos State University has expressed support to the Registrar of JAMB, Professor Isiaq Oloyede. The university The university in the statement says Professor Oloyede's courage and humility, depth of character and integrity are attributes that all public servants should possess. Similarly, the University of Ilorin has also commended the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board Registrar, Professor Isiaq Oloyede, for his transparent handling of the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME results controversy. The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Wahab Olusopo Egbewole, acknowledged the courage, honesty and integrity of JAMB in admitting errors that affected more than 300,000 candidates' results, saying such commitment to accountability and transparency must be recognized by all Nigerians. We'll take a break. There's so much more after the break. Don't go away. Thanks for rejoining us. Now, talking politics, members of the All Progressives Congress comprising serving governors, ministers and National Working Committee have met to review recent developments around the party and governance of the country. The meeting commended the implementation pace of the Renewed Hope agenda and pledged to continue to support huge ideas of the APC's transformative leadership. Correspondent Abubakar Akwanga reports.
The elaborate session, which was held closed door for several hours, revealed that APC is making a significant difference in the governance of Nigeria, especially in the management of high-profile foreign debts.
Today, Mr. President is being vindicated. Gradually, international organizations like World Bank, IMF, are now beginning to commend the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for taking bold decisions in embarking on a reform-driven government.
The session also reaffirmed support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and scored his administration high in the delivery of the Renewed Hope agenda to Nigerians and spoke on May 29 preparations.
As we reach our midpoint, it is also important for all of us, the presidential communication team, the national communication team, everyone to come together so that we can look at our messaging and fine-tune it so that Nigerians can be better informed and enlightened about our activities and programs.
And our meeting went well. We put our heads together, we discussed, and we agreed that going forward, working as a family, we must struggle to serve Nigeria better.
The meeting also resolved to ensure the administration of the party affairs thrive in line with emerging trends and appealed for support and solidarity at all levels. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria Governors Forum fully backing the proposed constitutional amendment for the establishment of Traditional Rulers Council as part of efforts to address security challenges in parts of the country. This came to the fore at the end of a closed-door session with subcommittee members on the proposed bill led by the Emir of Lafia, Justice Sidi Mohammed Bagi, in Abuja. The proposed law seeks to provide for the constitutional recognition and roles of the traditional institutions in grassroots governance and security at the grassroots.
Nigerian Governors Forum will also come strong to support our traditional institutions and leaders into having a defined constitutional responsibility in the new amendment. So we had our meeting, they did their presentation, and they almost got our buy-in. We will take our report at the end of the day to the larger body, Nigerian Governors Forum, and if adopted, we'll follow up with the National Assembly to ensure that it is co-opted into the new alteration that is being expected.
Chairman, Nigeria Governors Forum, represented by Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, says the momentum for adequate security will be increased for the growth and development of the rural economy and well-being. To other news now, the federal government has inaugurated new health facilities at the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, Gogalada, targeted at meeting President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda of transforming the nation's health system and improving population health outcomes. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pati, who delivered President Tinubu's message at the project's inauguration, says the diverse reforms and investments implemented in the health sector are already yielding the desired results. Olushe Adego has the details.
Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, while inaugurating the new health facilities, including a computerized tomography CT scan unit, a newly renovated 34-bed male surgical ward, an assisted reproductive technology unit, a 50-space core duty block, and an 8-room staff quarters, among others, explains that the national health programs are already advancing the delivery of quality and affordable healthcare services to Nigerians.
Today we are seeing 10 major health infrastructural projects completed here at the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital in Gwagwalada. This is just one example. Of all the federal tertiary hospitals in Nigeria, there are similar projects ongoing just in the last 2 years to change the nature of the healthcare system.
President, through the Federal Ministry of Health, have been very, very supportive, at least for the past 2 years. Our appropriation has increased and there's prompt release of those funds. And that is why we have seen a range of equipment for clinical service delivery, equipment for teaching and training, infrastructure to support staff welfare, i.e. the type of structures that I have seen.
For more than 3 decades, the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital has provided a wide range of medical specialties. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
The federal government has unveiled and distributed digital tools to enhance the production of strong, responsive and coordinated national statistics. Statistician General of the Federation, Adeyemi Adeniro, stated this at a 2-day training on the integrated system of administrative statistics for selected participants from ministries, departments and agencies in Abuja. Mupla Dakok reports.
Administrative data accounts for about 70% of national data, which is predominantly generated by ministries, departments and agencies. This underscores the rationale for bringing together stakeholders to take ownership of their data roles using new digital tools.
Our administrative data system have operated in silos. It has been disjointed, inconsistent and underutilized. With these assets in place now, I believe the story will change.
The technology incorporated to set this up has, taken us, the statistical system in Nigeria, to the next level.
Surveys, censuses are conducted, but they are not as important as the system of administrative statistics.
It's an integrated system, meaning that we are pooling statistical resources in so many MDAs lying fallow there.
At the end of the training, participants are expected to sign a data supply bond towards the regular and timely provision of administrative data in Abuja. Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
The National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children Education, in collaboration with the Northeast Development Commission, NEDC, is taking a bold step in addressing the problem of more than 2 million out-of-school children in the northeastern Nigeria. Fatima Isa reports Executive Secretary of the Commission, Dr. Idris Mohammed Sani, was at NEDC to chart the way forward.
The meeting focused on deepening partnership to confront the critical challenges hindering access to education among vulnerable children across the region. Top on the agenda was the alarming figure of over 2 million out-of-school children in the Northeast, many of whom fall within the Almajiri system. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Idris Mohammed Sani, emphasized the need for coordinated action to enroll these children into formal education and vocational training programs.
Actually, a lot of parents are not aware of the tragedy their children are going through. A lot of teachers are also not aware of how much danger they are exposing these students to.
One of the major proposals from the meeting is the construction of a mega school dedicated to accommodating and educating Almajiri and out-of-school children in Borno State, with potentials replicating across other parts of the region.
These Almajiris will be eradicated so that they can relearn, so that they fit in to society and do what's needful.
The meeting marks a significant step forward in the federal government's renewed commitment to inclusive education in line with the national goals of reducing illiteracy, poverty, and social vulnerability. Both parties reiterated their commitment to delivering tangible outcomes that will transform the educational landscape for marginalized children across the Northeast. In Maiduguri, Fatima Isa, NTA News.
And to Jigawa State, Governor Umar Namadi has engaged in a high-level interaction with the Jigawa Academics Forum in a landmark session aimed at charting a new course for the state's development. The event, held at the banquet hall of the Government House, Dutse, brought together intellectuals from across the nation in a robust dialogue and progress and also partnership. Mohammed Musa Askira reports.
1,000 scholars from 42 tertiary institutions across Nigeria converge on Dutse for these strategic engagements with Governor Umar Namadi under the auspices of Jigawa Academics Forum, chaired by Professor Haruna Abdullahi Burniwa. Discussions centered around improvements in the education, agriculture, healthcare, infrastructure, and human capital development, among others.
This shows clear alignment between the Jigawa State and the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, DCFR. Indeed, Madam Umar Namadi is a performing governor in every aspect.
Governor Umar Namadi appreciated the forum for its consistent and constructive feedback, which he noted has been instrumental in shaping policy direction of his government.
The culmination point of the entire 12-point agenda is adequately reflected in the strategic development objective we are pursuing for Jigawa State. Primarily, this is to achieve positive transformation across all sectors for sustained improvement in the socio-economic well-being of the entire people in our state, including the yet unborn generations.
The session has ended with pledges from both sides to strengthen partnership and collaboration for a result-driven development in line with the vision of the Umar Namadi government for Greater Jigawa, as awards were presented to the governor in recognition to his efforts in education policy reforms. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
The Department of State Services, DSS, says it has filed a lawsuit against Professor Pat Utomi over his alleged attempt to establish what he called a shadow government in Nigeria. In a statement, the DSS revealed that it lodged the suit at the Federal High Court in Abuja, urging the court to declare the move unconstitutional. President Utomi, a former presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, in the 2007 election, is the sole defendant in the suit filed on May 13th by senior advocate of Nigeria, Akinlolu Akainde. The suit alleges that Utomi's actions were intended to incite unrest and destabilize the country. The DSS argues that the idea of a shadow government represents not just a political aberration. President Bola Tinubu felicitates with the governor of Plateau State, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, as he marks his birthday on May 15th. The president extols Governor Alia's compassion and humanitarian spirit, which is evident from his service in the priesthood and public office. He prays for God's continued blessing upon the governor on this special day. Time now to join Adeola in Lagos for more on NTA Network News as we take a pause here in Abuja. Hello, Adeola.
Jumai, welcome to Lagos. The official handover of 112 entries to the advisory board for the evaluation of a likely winner of Africa's most prestigious awards, the Nigeria Prize for Science Award, an initiative sponsored by the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas (NLNG), has taken place in Lagos. Dana Jale reports that the award will not only transform the life of the winner, who goes with $100,000, but society at large will benefit from its impacts.
The application of science and technology in innovative solutions cut across all faiths and cannot be overemphasized. This is why management of the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas (NLNG) carefully selected innovations in ICT, artificial intelligence (AI), and digital technologies as the topic for the year 2025 Nigeria Prize Awards competition. The handover of 112 entries to the advisory board, chaired by renowned scientists, Professor Bat Naji signifies the commencement of a rigorous evaluation process by distinguished judges.
The judges normally will have a way to determine the standard that those who have assessed that work would be at for acceptance.
Let us continue to champion the message that NLNG, through the Nigeria Prize for Science, is fostering solutions that address national challenges.
General Manager, External Relations and Sustainable Development, Sophia Hosfor, speaks on the importance of the prize and its benefits.
Digital technologies, as we know, are reshaping economies and societies. It's transforming nations, and we can see that in investing in AI and ICT, we are seeing exponential benefits, whether it's creating new industries, expanding access to services, or driving productivity.
According to the advisory board, NLNG, this year 2025 Prize for Science seeks to spotlight pioneering research and solutions that harness technologies to empower industries, uplift societies, and transform Nigeria's development trajectory. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
We're done from this end. It's time to take another break, and when we return, it will be time for Benny Adams to...
Good to know you're here. It's time to talk business. Now, amid global disruptions to economic development and fluctuations in trade patterns, Nigeria, through the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme, are reviewing the Phase 1 protocol of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, in a view to maximizing the potential of the $3.4 trillion market in the Phase 2 protocol. The meeting is expected to review the country's trade in goods and services, investment in intellectual property rights, competition policy, digital trade, among other resolutions.
We're prioritizing domestic investors. We have a domestic investors summit coming up next month to speak to the medium cadre of businesses. You know that we've worked on Platinum Business Champions, which are the companies that gross over $1 billion per annum, the very big businesses in Nigeria, and a lot of regulatory and bureaucratic work on moving things in terms of ease of doing business for MSMEs.
The setting of the schedule for the concession trade in goods has been concluded. We're also supporting the country to think through opportunities to attract investment into the AFCFTA. We're also thinking through how to trade more in services. E-commerce also is doing quite well. The country is currently a co-champion in this area. And so I think the real question is that how do we find ways to address those challenges? And that's exactly what we're trying to do through this workshop.
Again now, Speaker, House of Representatives Abbas Tajuddin has assured Nigeria's business community of speedy reforms of bottlenecks in maritime import and export systems to enhance ease of doing business and increase revenue for the Federation. This was as he received the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, on a walking visit. Conversations around the urgent need for implementation through enforcement of the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act 2023 as amended, in addition to the impact of the proposed tax reforms on the free trade zones, were central. This is in addition to ensuring Nigeria keeps its promises to foreign investors. The NAS leadership decried the situation where Nigeria continues to lose billions in revenue to neighboring countries due to bureaucratic hurdles and inefficiencies at the country's borders and ports. He says the fact that reports show more than 75% of goods shipped to Benin Republic are destined for Nigeria should alarm every policy maker. And a quick look at the market. Global commodities market showed that Nigeria averaged a crude oil production output of 1.468 million barrels per day in the first quarter of 2025, much lower than the 2 million barrels per day target set by the government looking at the budget. This is according to information in OPEC's latest monthly oil report for May. And according to that report, we also see that the ORB declined by 5.2 2%. OPEC demand was expected to grow by 1.3 million barrels per day year-on-year, which shows no changes from last month. In terms of the total declaration of cooperation output, OPEC countries averaged 40.92 million barrels per day in April 2025, which is 106 higher compared to March 2025. And the OPEC Declaration of Cooperation is an agreement between the OPEC and non-OPEC oil producers, including Russia, to coordinate oil output and stabilize global oil markets. A quick look at the market today, talking about the Nigerian market. The Nigerian equities market closed Thursday trading positively, extending gains recorded in the previous sessions as investors gained a bullish streak on some key stocks, leading to the oil share index appreciating by 37 basis points to close at 109,467.64 basis points. Investors actually gained a whopping 256.62 billion naira, with market capitalization increasing to 63.88%. And looking at South Africa, South Africa is in red, depreciating by 0.14%. Tunisia tune index 0.14% to close at a positive gain, though 0.14%, but one is on the positive and the other on the negative, giving investors opportunity to invest in such stocks. Well, this time for another break. Do stay with us.
Glad you're still watching NTA Network News. Francisca is there with more on sports update. Francisca, what's happening in the world of sports? Any news?
A lot's happening in the world of sports, but let's begin with the story. Flying Eagles of Nigeria earlier this evening failed in the bid to book a final ticket at the ongoing Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations in Egypt, as they lost 1-0 to South Africa in their semi-final clash. Despite dominating much of the contest and creating several chances, Nigeria were undone by a second-half goal stemming from a costly error by substitute goalkeeper Yakub, who replaced the injured Ebenezer Hakot. Nigeria will now fight for bronze against host Egypt, who were defeated 1-0 by Morocco in their other semi-final encounter.
The keeper doesn't get to it, and there's the opener. Ajia Yakub, the substitute keeper, came for the ball, didn't get there. And it's Tylon Smith, the centre-back. Steered it.
Meanwhile, the battle for the 2025 NWFL Premiership title is set to go down the wire after Thursday's round of matches at the ongoing Super 6 tournament in Ikenne produced some interesting results. Edo Queens, who had a slow start, defeated favourite Bayelsa Queens 1-0 to put their title hopes back on track, while Rivers Angels got a 2-0 victory over Niger Rattles, with Remo Stars Ladies and Nasarawa Amazon settling for a goalless draw. The final round of matches will be decided on Saturday, with Nasarawa Amazons leading the lock on 8 points, while the trio of Bayelsa Queens, Remo Stars Ladies and Edo Queens have 7 points each. Elsewhere, Lewis Hamilton says the success of his team with Ferrari should be judged after a few years with the team, rather than the opening stages of his first campaign with the Italian squad. Hamilton joined Ferrari in a blockbuster switch after spending 12 years at Mercedes, but has endured a disappointing start to the 2025 season. Hamilton has shown flashes of excellence with a sprint win in China and third place over the shortened format in Miami, but the 7-time world champion was largely struggled. Well, that's it on Sports Update. It's back to Jumai.
Thank you, Francesca. The death has occurred of Mrs. Anne Chioma Chima. Funeral arrangements released by her family indicates that she will be buried on the 17th of May 2025 in her hometown in Otu Edo local government area of Ebonyi State. Chief Confidential Secretary in the Federal Civil Service, the deceased is survived by her husband, Squadron Leader Chima, children, friends and relatives. The co-chairman of the Presidential Livestock Reforms Implementation Committee, Professor Atairu Jega, has expressed condolence to the family of late Mustapha Popola following his passing. Professor Jega describes Dr. Popola as a dedicated, sincere and hardworking individual, as well as a devout Muslim. Until his death in the early hours of Tuesday this week, Dr. Popola served as a committed member of the committee, where he brought his expertise to bear in the area of genomics and genetic improvement. And that's the NTA Network News for tonight. Don't forget, the survey is still on. Keep voting. More will be coming. Thanks so much for watching. I am Jumai Yusuf.